can we get folks to gather back around so we can do a little bit of a wrap up here, and then we'll do the closing remarks will be after this. So welcome to Opioid Conversion 101. Just seeing if you're paying attention. All right, so we're going to get started here so that we can finish, because what time do we have till quarter of? Yep, good. So brevity is a virtue. Keep that in mind when you're charting as well. All right, so we're going to get started then. And one thing I wanted to do first before you'll notice at your tables, we've passed out a piece of paper, and we'll explain that in a minute. But first things first, we've had a lot of heavy topics. We've had a lot of wonderful topics, some really moving moments. But what I haven't seen is really just celebrating and really giving thanks to each other. So can everyone stand up, please? We're all going to stand up as you are able and willing. And give yourself a round of applause, because you guys work magic every day. Every day you work magic. Woo! For every story that was on the screen today, you've got 50 of them. That's amazing power in this room. And it's amazing work. So I know there's some, that whole nasty rate of death being 1 per person can sort of be a bummer sometime, but you guys are doing amazing work, and I really want that to be one of the takeaways from today, to really connect with that, connect with the sacredness of your work and the importance of your work and the success of your work. Because I've had the honor of talking to many patients whose lives have been greatly improved, whether they be patients and or family members. So thank you for that. So with that said, now Jackie's going to read a poem. No. No, if you'll take a look at that paper, on your tables, this is a chance to work together. You know how we like to talk about interdisciplinary teamwork? Well, good luck. So you're going to work together on this. Due to time constraints, we're not going to try to tackle all these questions. So you can pick one question. The one that I'm very curious about is question 1, and how are you going to take this back to your teams? Because what I always struggle with these kinds of conference days is they are so energizing, and you have so many great ideas, and you hear about things, and you get to talk to old colleagues and things, and young colleagues too, like myself. And it's just so wonderful, but then how do you put it in action when you get back? How do you take that enthusiasm? How do you translate it into some actionable items back at your agency? So that's a question I'm curious about. Are there any that you have questions about?
And so you see that there are 3 other questions along with that. Now you're only responsible for the first one. And then after that, what we're going to do and you're going to have 5 minutes to do this. So choose the scribe who's going to write down your brainstorming. And then there's a special prize if there's any of the tables that do another question in that 5 minutes. Yeah, not really, but anyway, just do the first one. But if you want to do another one, then you will be held in high esteem by your colleagues. So please start.
So go ahead and get started.
5 minutes.
Because you're being timed. All righty then. We're going to get ready to report out. And just to put the fear of God into all of you, we've decided to call ourselves the Takeaway Strike Force. So there'll be participation. All right. So what table would like to report out first? It's always easy to go first, because then I want to go, how shall we resolve? I've got the mic. I'm going this way. You had a hand up over here? All right. There's ambivalence in palliative care.
We're very solid. I did a roll today. We answered them all.
This team, the team of overachievers over here answered all the questions. But all they wrote was yes.
So I want to get this straight. I'm only reporting out on question 1.
You can report out on any question you like, but I'll ask that you don't use profanity.
Here you go. So in regard to how will you bring the conference takeaways back to your teams, well, considering almost all of us are here today, for the few missing elements of our team who are not here, we chose to bring the missing pieces into the loop with the video link of this presentation, as well as share it at our multidisciplinary team trainings, which are bi-monthly.
Thanks for that. Who would like to go next? It only had to be one question. It's fun being with adults. You can hear all the murmurs. She said only one question. Why did they do all the questions? Are we going to look like we don't know what we're doing? What's that now? Oh, well, I think there was somebody that had asked to go, so I'm going to go there first and then third. I don't know. The fellows? Oh my God, my mother's channeling through me. Yellow, yellow, kiss a fellow.
What are you asking us?
I thought somebody wanted to report out on one of the questions. Might that be the case?
Yeah, I'd love to. You go.
Yeah. So speaking to, wow, that's loud. Question number 4, what makes palliative care unique in the medical model? We said spiritual care aspect, that we don't really touch on that otherwise, and the team approach. The spiritual care and the team approach. There you go, Jackie, just for you.
And then over here, you were next. I'm getting my steps. Here you go.
Okay, so we. Can I say it? You do not want that at the end of the day, trust me. Okay, so we have how will you bring conference takeaways back to your teams? I went to the breakout session with Betty Farrell, and one thing I had been looking for a long time was guidelines for palliative care that we could bring to our referrers and say, you know, does your patient qualify? So I got a great site to go, NCCN, to research this. She says they're right there. We just need to, you know, download them and I'll give them to our team so we can start doing some training within our own facility and then outside. And then another is refractory pain that you said, Barb, that you had picked up from the ethics breakout session that you're going to bring back to your ethics committee at the hospital. Yeah, to explore. And then the last one was enhanced volunteer training by materials and in-services received today, is what they said.
But finally, something to do. All right. Jana wants to get it over with. All right.
Okay, so first we followed directions and answered the first question.
Just like that noted.
Just, I want that on the record. So we, again, what do we want to bring back to our team? Our team is here, so we feel like we have a good grasp to speak for all of us and say that we want to bring back spirituality practice, that we identify that was something that we really want to spend more time in, and we want to use the chaplains in our hospice team to help us learn about how to be more spiritual with our patients and talk about that more. And then we want to do more to fill up our own buckets as clinicians and employees. And then the last thing was we wanted to use more of our individual strengths to work as an interdisciplinary team. We have the unique, I think, only probably team anywhere in the state that has rehab professionals on it. So we want to incorporate that more. And our nurses, our therapists, our social workers, like working all together.
Thank you very much for playing.
Thank you, Robin. our comment at this table, I must give the credit to Pat I, who was the one that we were sort of all stymied and going, so I don't know. I don't know where we found her. Anyway, but I think we all agreed it was the answer we wanted to go to question 1, to integrate the volunteer program with hospital, outpatient, and inpatient palliative care to bring the excellence that volunteers provide to the hospice program to the larger setting of palliative care.
Some great takeaways. Here we go. Oh, a social worker.
So ours were similar to what was said, but I wanted to add the info on the main care, palliative care, LD 1064 bill. We're gonna bring that back to our team and try to get some people to help that along. And then how to start palliative care in Washington County, and the idea of, thinking that it was originally just cancer focused, it can be expanded by expanding all of the different serious illnesses that will help bring more people into the program.
Excellent. Others? I haven't heard from this table, Chris. I know how you like to speak without any planning. Oh, here I come. Chris and I used to work together. She's been in therapy.
Recovery for sure. So we also wanted to address the whole spiritual aspect and make sure that we encouraged spiritual care training for all employees. And we thought we needed to encourage ethics training for administration, so they really had a good grasp of what it is that we're trying to do. And then also wanted to help strengthen the connection and between the palliative care and hospice transition.
Very nice. Thank you. There you are.
So our group isn't members of all one team, but some of us are involved with the Palliative Care Advisory Council. So we thought one of the helpful things the council could tackle was the challenges in prescribing that's been discussed. But the ethics breakout session was also perceived to be very helpful to people to take back.
I also really enjoyed the discussion on cannabinoids and psychedelics. I mean, I think that as our toolbox sort of is more challenged with regard to opioid, I think we probably ought to follow some national trends and explore what's available. And there are huge barriers, of course.
But such important work to do, even with those barriers.
On the first question, I think we felt that some of the big takeaway for us was, some of the caution that was regarding opioid prescribing in the state, and just exercising due diligence around that. And I think many of us, probably for our provider group, now finding that we can actually re-register as the appropriate specialty and not get at least 12 emails a week saying, "Did you know that you're mixing lorazepam and a narcotic together?" Like, gosh, never happens in hospice or palliative care. I think a lot of enthusiasm about LD 1064 overall. I think the other thing that's very much an intangible, and many members of our team are here today, but just the energy and connections that come from meeting other colleagues around the state who are really, really dedicated to this work, and learning from each other, and acknowledging that there are people that you can call who are wrestling with the same type of issues is hugely beneficial. We also did take a brief stab at question number 4, and we talked a little bit about the unique aspects of it, of palliative care, as it's really probably the only specialty where you actually invest the time that's necessary with the patient. Almost everything else doesn't roll that way. The focus on the whole person and family is really unique to this particular specialty in many regards. I think the ability to demonstrate cutting costs and improving satisfaction at the same time is pretty much unique in American medicine. And I think something that's really amazing. And it's also one of the few disciplines that's really dedicated to the idea of actually helping the person stay in their own home, which is where they really want to be most all the time. So.
I know we're short on time. Any table that didn't report out that would like to report out? I see you're chomping at the bit. All right. Do you have any last comments that you want to make? Looks like we have a pretty good list, and what we thought we would do is kind of look at this afterwards and collate some of the common themes, if there are some great ideas that came out here today, as there were, and then get a copy out there online for folks. Would you like to say anything?
Just in closing, so thank you all. I'm sure that Candace is going to say something to just sort of say you can go now, but thank you all. What's that?
And I'm going to say something else.
No, you've already said it. So thank you all for coming and participate. Oh my God. Anyway, so thank you all for participating and taking the time, because, the intensity of what we've had for those who came last night and those for you that are here today, this is really pretty intense stuff. This is the first one. This is where the visionaries are. It's right in this room. And we're going to make things happen because that's what we do. Right? If we do it for our patients and families and staff, by the way. We didn't talk about how we support staff, particularly in acute care. But so thanks. So Candace, do you want to say goodbye now? Oh my God.
Just one quick thing. I just want to talk a little bit about my birth and then kind of take you through. It's just, yeah. What I actually want to say is, one of the things that just strikes me about today is the energy of all this human connection. It's also what makes palliative care really special. It's also, human connection is what makes things better when medicine can't. And that's an important ingredient palliative care brings to the table. So celebrate that.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Are there any questions from the audience? We're open to them. We're really open to them.
Yeah. Jesus.
No questions.
I love you. Oh my God. Did I not say this was going to be entertaining? I mean, nobody could top this. I mean, just nobody. Lauren, you might want to come up and say a few words too. You all set? She's waving. She's waving goodbye, I think. I just would like to say, on behalf of the Palliative Care and Quality of Life Advisory, Interdisciplinary Advisory Council, and the Maine Hospice Council, thank you for joining us, for dedicating your time, your energy, your interest in discussion, in engagement, in each other. I want to thank Edie Smith for spending a day and a half with us. And you bet. And we want you to take every word back to Senator King, okay? Every word. I'd like to thank Jason Carey and Scott Fish, and we are so lucky to have them as a team. I, of course, want to thank all of the presenters and facilitators who gave their time, and much of it volunteer, to our cause. I want to thank our keynote speakers, Dr. Van Kirk, better known as Jim. Stand up, Jim. Stand up. Dr. Betty Farrell, up. Dr. Court Kastner, up. All the planning committee, up out of your seats. Come on, come on. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for being brave, dear. I just would like to thank all the sponsors once again. I'd like to thank the Hutchinson Center for a great facility. Don't you think this is a great facility? Jane is over there waving a piece of paper at us. Please do the evaluation to get your CMEs. Remember, 6 CMEs and 2.5 opioid credits. And CEUs were approved. You're well. Thank you, Catherine, one more time. And I thank you all. And I agree. I couldn't agree more with Vance, because I think the big takeaway is, last night and today, I look from one end of the room to the other and back, and everyone, you're still here. And, the energy in this room was phenomenal. And I think it's because we haven't been together for so long, number one. And just because you're such wonderful people, you do wonderful work, you need each other. As a community of people, we need to collaborate. You need to continue with the courage and strength and fortitude to advocate for what you know is right, morally and ethically, despite the challenges, because, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't do it, it won't get done. Right? Yeah. Social change takes a long time. And so let's give it everything we've got. Thank you all. Be safe going home.